Hello, everyone. Today I have decided to pick up a very interesting topic. It is about Vimshottari Mahadasha. This is due to a popular demand, and often I came across with questions in terms of something that I can come up with that throws some light on timing of events, importance of dashas, and how to read the dashas. So I decided to take this topic. In case you are new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you like the video, please share it with your friends. In case you have any questions, comments, please feel free to use the comment box. I always try to answer each and every questions, and by the end of this video, when you watch it, in case you have any specific questions with regards to your Mahadasha that you're running, feel free to ask me, and I will try my best to answer it to the best of my knowledge and abilities. So this topic today that I have chosen is about Vimshottari Mahadasha. Now this is one of the primary nakshatra-based dasha that is applicable for anyone. There are a number of Mahadashas that are there in Vedic astrology, but the Vimshottari Mahadasha is universally applicable to all of us, to all human beings. Let's talk about some basics first before we, deep dive into how to understand the dasha, the planets that are associated with it, and how to really understand some of the basic elements of timing of events through Vimshottari Mahadasha. Now, as per Laghu Parashari, okay, the number of years that have been given to the human being in terms of the highest Ayush is 120 solar years. So that's as per Laghu Parashari, okay, one of the Vedic text. Now the planetary rulership is based on the Vimshottari Dasha system. Um, Let me keep this very simple for you. So the ruler of the moon's nakshatra, which is your Janma nakshatra, or where moon is placed. So that is the primary Mahadasha that you begin with. So for example, if your moon is placed in Shatabishak nakshatra, which is ruled by Rahu, so that means at the time of your birth, the first Mahadasha will be of Rahu, and that will depend on where the moon is, the degrees, and on the basis of that the balance is calculated. So based on the rulership of the nakshatra, the first Mahadasha starts, and it proceeds arithmetically. From the Kalpurusha Kundli perspective, we start with the first nakshatra, that is Ashwini, and the last, that is the 27th nakshatra, is Revati. So based on that, the sequence of dashas, uh, it starts with the Ketu Mahadasha, because Ketu rules the nakshatra of Ashwini, and the last Mahadasha, as per the Kalpurush chart, is Mercury's Mahadasha. So the sequence goes because nakshatra Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, so on and so forth. Okay, um, we have Ketu Mahadasha, then we have Venus, then Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury. Okay, so these are the basic sequence of the dashas, and each dasha has its own duration as well, which is very readily available. I'm not going to spend much time in terms of sharing with you. That information is available if you check up your charts in any of the software. It is available for you. Here I'm going to stress on some very simple facts in terms of I'll keep it very simple for you. Okay, by the end of this video, you should be able to understand your own Mahadasha and also apply it to your loved ones' charts as well. Okay, so one of the things that we should be very careful of, and that's personally I don't like to use it when it is about reading a Mahadasha in my consultation, regardless of which graha it is, regardless of the rulership. I do not use the terms such as, this dasha is benefic or this dasha is malefic, it's harmful or it's good. Use this graha is a good graha or a bad graha or a planet. It's harmful or dangerous or evil, or it'll bring you a lot of abundance. These are very very generic aspects. If any astrologer is using this uh, with you, in terms of just assessing a planet and tells you that, oh, your Saturn 19-year period is disastrous, or your Venus 20 years period is going to be excellent. Now, if any astrologer is using these terms with you in terms of giving an overall analysis of the Mahadasha, then that means that we are living in fool's paradise. So don't believe this. Right? Each Mahadasha, regardless of its duration, has its own strengths, weaknesses, has some good points, has some pitfalls and blind spots as well. It is always mixed. Okay, there isn't a Mahadasha that will perhaps give you whole lasting positive results. No matter if it's Venus Mahadasha, which is for 20 years, that doesn't mean that all the 20 years will be full of abundance, luxury, but then it can have its own challenges, it can have its own ups and downs as well. And at the same time, it doesn't really mean that the whole Rahu Mahadasha, that means the 18 years period, doesn't mean that all of that is going to be challenging, right? So, uh, I mean, I'm going to also make a video around some of the most so-called, negative dashas or people who are scared of, some of the mahadashas such as Saturn, Rahu, Ketu. So I'm going to make videos on that too and try to remove some myths. But here, in terms of a particular Vimshottari Mahadasha, there are ups and downs. There's some parts which are positive. There are some challenges as well, and it is very important for timing of events. Now, Mahadashas decide that any promise that is there in your chart, any yoga that is there in your chart, is going to get fructify or not. Any promise which is made is going to get fulfilled or not. So this is the final mark. Okay, our whole life revolves around Mahadashas. So this is the most important concept in Vedic astrology. So let me keep it very simple for you here. Now, regardless of any graha that you're running a Mahadasha of. Okay, I'm going to talk about some terms, and based on these terms, it will be very simple for you to understand. Now, the very first thing is something that we call as the Karakatwa or Karaka, so which is the function. Okay, F as in function. So primarily, these grahas would deliver results based on their uh, Karakatva or the function. So, for example, if it is Jupiter, Jupiter is the Karaka of knowledge, is the Karaka of wisdom, is the Karaka of wealth. Saturn is the Karaka of hard work, is the Karaka of labor, it is the Karaka of discipline. Mercury, as an example, is the Karaka of intelligence, is the Karaka of management, it is the Karaka of communication, is also the cargo of friends. So we need to understand the function, the primary function or karakatva of these grahas, and that's the first point. And I've made another video in the past on karakas as well. You can watch this on my channel to have a greater and a deeper understanding of what karakas really mean. Now, number two is lordship. Okay, L as in lordship. The house that this graha is ruling, regardless of where it is placed in your chart, it is going to deliver results based on its function. It is going to deliver results based on its lordship or rulership, the houses that it's ruling in. So most grahas they rule, two houses. Sun exceptionally rules one house. That's the house of Leo. Okay. Moon also rules two houses. By the way, one is its own sign of Cancer, and then it also gets Mul Trikona post 3 degrees in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so most grahas rule two houses besides the Sun, who rules one house. So based on its lordship, okay, whichever house it is ruling in your Lagna chart or moon chart. So based on that, it is going to deliver results based on the characteristics and nature of the house. Okay. Now the third is inherent nature or I, inherent nature. Okay. The nature of the graha. Okay. Now what I mean is in Vedic astrology, there are certain terms such as Krura, Saumya, Papa, and Shubha. So on the nature of the graha, it is going to deliver certain results. Now let's talk about the Saumya grahas. Which are the Saumya grahas? It is Moon, it is Jupiter, it is also Venus. That is a Saumya graha. Krura graha. Sun is considered to be a Krura graha. And let's talk about Papa Graha. Papa Grahas are Saturn, Mars, Rahu, and Ketu. Okay, Mercury is a graha that is, his inherent nature is dependent on the influence of other grahas. So if it is conjoined, let's say a Shubha graha or a Samya graha like Venus, Moon, Jupiter, then it becomes a Samya graha. If it is conjoined a Papa graha, then it might become a Papa graha in terms of its inherent nature in the chart. Okay. The other is also Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas Guna. Okay. Now, Sattva Guna grahas are Jupiter, Sun, and the Moon. Rajas grahas are Mercury and Venus, and the Tamas grahas are Saturn and Mars. Rahu and Ketu are considered as Tamas grahas, but then their placement would more or less indicate, or perhaps they will deliver results based on the dispositor or the sign and its lord that they are placed in, and other associations. So that's the inherent nature. Number four is placement, which is P. So placement, which house this graha is placed in your chart. So it is going to deliver based on the placement in your chart. Number five is the aspect. Now, the houses this graha is aspecting. Okay. Now, when I talk about planetary aspect, there are a number of videos that have been made on planetary aspects. Let me tell you a reality which many people or astrologers don't talk about. Okay, planetary aspects or graha aspects are just temporary. They're not permanent. So that means they're only active during the Mahadasha time. Okay. So all grahas aspect seventh from where they are placed. Some grahas have special aspect. Okay. Let's say Saturn has special aspect, which is an additional third from its placement, and the 10th house from its placement. Mars has two special aspect, which is fourth house from where it is placed and the eighth house from where it is placed, besides the seventh house aspect. And Jupiter has two additional aspects, which is the fifth from its placement and ninth house from its placement, besides the seventh house. Okay. Um, there are a lot of things which are said about Rahu and Ketu and their aspects. In my opinion, some school of thoughts believe Ketu is headless; it does not have an aspect. I believe that Ketu aspects fifth and ninth from its placement, and Rahu aspects fifth, ninth, and 12th from its position. They do not aspect seventh from its position because there are, a body and a head and a body, so they cannot really have that seventh aspect. Okay, so that's my opinion. Okay, there are different schools of thoughts, and I respect them as well. Okay. Now, the last point here is the conjunction. C as in conjunction. So the planets, the dasha that you're running, the planet, the other grahas that it's conjoined with. So based on the conjunction, it is likely to deliver some results. So I have created a mnemonic here, an acronym, which I called FLIPAC. FLIPAC, which means function, lordship, inherent nature, placement, aspect, and conjunction, for you to remember how to judge a Mahadasha of a particular graha. Okay, so this keeps it very simple for people. Now let's talk about another very important aspect in terms of how to read a Mahadasha. Okay, in terms of the placement of the planet, lordship of the planet, where it is placed in your chart, which houses it rules, and of course the other aspects of Flipak. Okay, Mahadasha should be studied from the ascendant or the Lagna chart. Mahadasha should also be studied from the moon sign. From your moon sign, which house this planet placed in, and the rulership that it has. Mahadasha should also be studied from the sun chart, okay, or from the sun sign, and that is what we call as the Sudarshan chakra, which is ascendant, moon, and sun. The ascendant chart is all about physical manifestation of the results at the physical level, whether an event that is promised will happen and when will it happen. From the moon chart, it is all about mental manifestation at the mental level. Okay, it is all about well-being. It is all about having the right mindset in terms of preparing yourself and doing what you like. Longevity from a Mahadasha point of view is also and only studied from the moon chart and not from the ascendant chart when it is about the Mahadasha. Okay, sun is all about resources. So the resources, whether you'll be able to create them or not, whether you will be able to create more opportunities. Okay, um, that is to be studied from the sun chart. And also, sun is the karaka of wealth, so that also needs to be studied from this chart. So based on the timing that you're looking for, in terms of timing of marriage, new job, career progression, promotion, property, childbirth, right? Your overall health and well-being. Okay. When are you going to earn money? When are you going to get a new job? When are you going to perhaps move out of the country? When are you going to settle down in life? So a lot of questions, generally that we have in life are the answers are within the Vimshottari Mahadasha, because that's where the manifestation of results is decided. So in terms of the Mahadasha, the Vimshottari Mahadasha that you're running, I personally look at three levels of the Dasha, which is the Mahadasha, the Bhukti that is there, or the Antardasha, and the Pratyantardasha that is there. And I use the concept, and again another acronym which I called VMF. Okay, I'll talk about VMF, what it really means, because the Mahadasha that you're running, the Dasha Lord, right? Whether it's Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Sun, Moon, Mercury, or Venus, okay, or Jupiter, uh, the Mahadasha, the Dasha Lord, will indicate vision and direction for that period of time. So, for example, if it is Jupiter Dasha, which runs for 15 years, this Graha, this planet, is indicating the overall vision and direction for those 15 years. Now, within these 15 years, there are different Antardashas, different, all the other Grahas come in Antardasha for a different amount of time. Generally, if you look at duration, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, Mercury, even Jupiter, their antardashas are of longer duration compared to Sun, Moon, Mars, and Ketu. Okay, so this is also another interesting point that you can sort of take away from this video. Okay, now the antardashas that come during this time, these are milestones. So, Jupiter Mahadasha, the example that we've taken, 15 years. So within those 15 years, there are different Antardashas. Now these Antardashas would really talk about certain milestones that are there. And in each Antardasha, there are Pratyantardashas as well of each grahas, which are of smaller durations. But these are very important because the Pratyanta Dasha will talk about, or it'll be the final stamp, whether this will happen or it will not happen, whether you will gain or suffer, whether you're going to get this job or not, whether you're going to get married at this time or not. Okay, that is decided by the Pratyanta Dasha. That is the final result or the outcome, and that is how it needs to be studied. And that is why I advise people to, if there are longer Mahadashas, let's say Jupiter Mahadasha or Saturn Mahadasha, it's very difficult to, really study for the whole year, because then you need to look at transits, you need to look at many other things as well. But then focus on looking at Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratantardasha, and the apply flip back the concept that I've just shared with you, and see the houses that are pretty much active in your chart for that time, and you can always make an assessment of the result. But then the Pratanta Dasha Lord is very, very important in terms of final results. Sometimes I have observed that if the Pratanta Dasha Lord is in strength and is even strongly placed than the Mahadasha Lord, it has the power to supersede the Mahadasha Lord and take control. And within that short span of time, something will happen, and the results of that would be very much long lasting. So, imagine a Pratanta Dasha that might only come for a month or two, and the results of that could be very much long lasting. It could probably lead you in a job, you may just retire from that company, or the business that you start, it might have a lifelong success, or you get married, and if it is, sort of very much positively placed, I mean, you're living your life with a partner. Okay. Uh, so that's the kind of impact that Pratantadasha has, and it must be studied. Now, another simple and important way to study the Mahadasha is a concept called Dasha Lagna. So, wherever the Graha is placed in your chart, whichever house it is placed in, it's very simple. Consider that house as the Lagna. So, for example, if you are an Aries ascendant and you are running the Dasha of Mars or Mangala, okay, and let's say um, your Mars is placed in the third house in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so for that time period of Mars's dasha, which is 7 years, okay, this house, the sign of Gemini or the third house becomes the Lagna. Okay, now interestingly, the rulership of Mars will change if you take a look at the Dasha Lagna concept. Because if you're an Aries ascendant, Mars rules your first house and the eighth house. Now, for the Dasha Lagna perspective, your ascendant becomes Gemini for that time period. Okay, and Mars here becomes the ruler of the sixth house and the 11th house. So, this is also something that needs to take into account. So, in terms of understanding the Mahadasha and Antardasha, we must look at the relationship or the placement from the Dasha Lord, to the Antardasha planet. So, for example, let's continue with the same example. Mars placed in the third house of Gemini, okay, and let's say the Antardasha is of Sun. So, we need to look at where Sun is placed in this chart. So, for example, Sun is placed, let's say, in the seventh house in the sign of Libra, where Sun is debilitated as well. Okay, but here from Mars, it is placed in the fifth house from where Mars is placed. Okay, if you count from third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, it is the fifth house. So they share a 5-9 relationship. So to keep it simple with you, from the Dasha Lagna, if the planets are sharing a 1-1 relationship, that means they are conjoined in the same house, or they share a 4-10 relationship, or they share a 5-9 relationship, or they share a 1-7 relationship. Okay, that means they are either kendras from each other or trinal from each other, or they are conjunct. Okay, it's most likely to deliver positive and auspicious results if other things are, sort of favorable in the chart. Okay, but then if they are placed 3-11 from each other, okay, then it is going to bring some challenges, um, but that can also bring gains with certain efforts. The challenging positions from Dasha Lagna are 212 and 6-8. 6-8 being the worst amongst the two. Okay, because 212 till some extent is okay from the wealth perspective, because a graha that is second from another graha is likely to bring in wealth from, because from the Dasha Lagna it also becomes the Dhanasthana. But 6-8 relationship that the grahas are sharing, okay, if other conditions do not support, so that could be one of the sort of difficult times to sort of watch out for. And specific results would depend always on flip act that I've shared with you: function, lordship, inherent nature, placement, aspect, and conjunction. So this is about reading a Mahadasha in a very simple manner. Okay, so you can go back, check out the Mahadasha, Antardasha, and Pratendadashas that you're running for the next 2 to 3 years. Try and make some notes, apply this knowledge, and try to predict for your own self and your loved ones. In case you have any questions, please use the comment sections, raise your questions. It can also be related to your current Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratentadasha, and the placements of the grahas. I'm happy to answer. Please avoid sharing your birth details. Unfortunately, I might not have the time to look up your charts, but I would plan to, do some videos around, live sessions, and then, pre-recorded videos on reading certain birth charts in a complementary manner. So that's something which I'm planning to do. But then, if you like this video, share, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, Please subscribe, hit the bell icon, share it with your friends. If you wish to take a consultation, please check out the links below in the comment section, the link to my website, and feel free to reach out and connect with me there. Thank you very much, and have a good day.